Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. Today, we're diving into a topic that's often talked about, but rarely truly understood: the reality of music money. I mean, we all stream music, right? We go to concerts, buy merch. You'd think artists are rolling in it, but the truth is, it's a lot more complicated than that.
Absolutely, Ava. It's a bit of a myth, isn't it? This image of the starving artists on one hand, and then these multi-millionaire pop stars on the other. But for the vast majority of musicians, even those you hear on the radio or in playlists, making a living wage from their art is an uphill battle. We're talking about dimes and pennies sometimes.
Dimes and pennies is generous, Oliver. I remember reading that the average payout per stream from platforms like Spotify is what? Around 0.003 to 0.005 cents? That's not even a full cent per stream. It's mind-boggling when you think about it.
It truly is. To put that into perspective, an artist would need literally hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of streams just to earn a few $100s. And that's before distributors, labels, managers, and everyone else takes their cut. It's like you hear a song has 1 billion streams and you think, wow, they must be set for life. But the artist might see a fraction of that.
Exactly. And let's break down where that money actually goes, because it's not a direct line from listener to artist. First, the streaming platform takes a huge chunk, usually around 30%. Then, the record label gets a significant portion, sometimes 50% or more, depending on the artist's deal. Then there's the publisher, the songwriter, the producer. By the time it trickles down to the actual performing artist, it's often a tiny sliver.
And that's assuming the artist even owns their masters, which many don't, especially earlier in their careers. If the label owns the master recording, they control that entire label share of the revenue. The artist just gets a royalty, which can be as low as 10 to 20% of the label's net receipts, after the label has recouped all their advances and marketing costs. It's a complex web.
Which brings us to the advance. That big lump sum an artist gets when they sign with a label? It sounds great, but it's not a gift. It's an advance against future earnings, and the artist typically doesn't see another cent until that advance is fully recouped by the label. And with all those percentages we just mentioned, recouping can take years, if it ever happens.
It's like being in debt from day one, in a way. So if streaming isn't the big moneymaker for most artists, what is? For a long time, especially before the digital age, touring was a huge driver, and for many artists, it still is. But even touring comes with its own set of significant expenses.
Oh, absolutely. People see a stadium filled with thousands of fans and think, wow, that's massive profit. But you have to factor in the band's salaries, crew wages, transportation, buses, flights, trucks for gear, venue rental, sound and lighting engineers, security, promoters, management's cut, booking agents, insurance, colarts. The list is endless. A tour, especially a big one, is a massive logistical and financial undertaking.
And let's not forget the merch: t-shirts, hoodies, vinyl, CDs. That's often where artists, particularly independent ones, can actually make a decent margin. Selling a t-shirt for $30, which cost them $10 to produce, means a $20 profit. Compared to those fractions of a cent per stream, merch can feel like a gold mine. It's direct to fan, often cutting out many of the middlemen.
This is why you see artists at every concert pushing their merch tables so hard. It's not just a souvenir. It's often a crucial lifeline. It directly supports them. And even with merch, if they're on a label, the label might take a cut of those sales too, depending on the contract.
It truly reinforces the idea that artists need to be business people as much as creative people these days. Diversifying income streams isn't just a good idea, it's essential for survival. Beyond streaming, touring, and merch, what other buckets of revenue are there that artists tap into?
One big one is publishing, which is often misunderstood. It's separate from the master recording. Publishing revenue comes from the composition itself, the melody, the lyrics. This includes performance royalties when a song is played on radio or TV, mechanical royalties when it's reproduced like on a CD or vinyl, and sync royalties, which are a huge one.
Sync royalties, when a song is synced to a visual medium, like a TV show, a movie, a commercial, or even a video game. That can be incredibly lucrative, right? A single placement in a popular ad campaign or a blockbuster movie can bring in a significant lump sum.
Absolutely. For many artists, especially those who aren't stadium headliners, sync licensing can be their bread and butter. It's not recurring like streaming, but a good placement can net thousands, sometimes tens of thousands, or even more, depending on the usage and the prominence of the placement. This is why you see so many artists trying to get their music into film and TV.
It's a completely different beast to traditional record deals. You're essentially licensing the use of your song for a specific purpose and time frame, and that's where the distinction between the master recording and the composition is crucial. You might have one entity owning the master, like a record label, and another owning the publishing rights, like a publishing company or the songwriter themselves.
Yeah, and you can license both. So you need a master use license from the owner of the recording and a sync license from the owner of the composition. It's incredibly complex, which is why lawyers and music supervisors play such vital roles in these deals. It's definitely not something you just figure out on the fly.
So, we've talked about streaming, touring, merch, publishing, sync. What about the indie artist who's truly doing it all themselves? The bedroom producer who's putting music out on Bandcamp or DistroKid?
That's where things get really interesting, because the barriers to entry have never been lower. You can record a professional-sounding track in your home, use a digital distributor to get it onto all the major streaming platforms, and promote it yourself through social media. The beautiful thing about platforms like Bandcamp is that they offer artists a much larger share of the revenue, often 80–85% or even more.
That's a game changer compared to the fractional cents from streaming, and it's direct to fan, which builds that crucial community. I've seen artists build entire careers just through Bandcamp, Patreon, and consistent engagement with their audience. It's about building a loyal fan base that's willing to directly support your art.
Exactly. Instead of trying to get 1 million streams for a few $100s, an independent artist might aim for 1,000 true fans who each spend $100 a year on music, merch, and exclusive content. That's $100,000, which is a respectable income for many. It shifts the focus from mass appeal to deep connection.
And that 1,000 true fans concept, popularized by Kevin Kelly, is becoming more and more relevant in the digital economy. It's not about being a global superstar anymore. It's about finding your niche and nurturing it. That's where the real music money is for a lot of people.
It's a much more sustainable model for many, and it gives artists a lot more creative control and ownership over their work. No big label telling them what to do. No massive debt to recoup.
So, for anyone out there who loves music, what's the biggest takeaway from all of this? How can listeners better support their favorite artists, knowing what we know now?
My biggest takeaway is that free music isn't free for the artists creating it. If you truly want to support them, buy their music directly from their website or Bandcamp. Buy their merch. Go to their shows. Share their music on social media. Even just telling a friend about them helps. Subscribing to their Patreon if they have one. Those direct forms of support make a tangible difference.
Definitely. Think of streaming as discovery, but direct purchases as true patronage. It's about voting with your wallet and recognizing the immense effort and passion that goes into creating the soundtrack of our lives. It's not always glamorous, and it's certainly not always lucrative, but it's vital.
Exactly. So next time you're enjoying a song, take a moment to appreciate the journey that music and the money around it takes, and maybe consider dropping a few dollars directly to the artist. It makes a bigger difference than you might think.
Couldn't agree more, Ava. Thanks for shedding some light on the often opaque world of music finances. It's been a fascinating and frankly eye-opening discussion.
My pleasure, Oliver, and thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you next time.